my expectation for how this ride was supposed to be and how it was turning out, I had to pump in and manifest patience. Hi, welcome to the Judy Torel Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Judy Torel Show. And this is the first of 6 episodes in my 5th series. And the topic for this series that I want to address is what skills has endurance sport taught me as a 59 months away from turning 60-year-old woman? What skills have I learned from participating in endurance sports that are aiding me now as I am living in an older and older body, and that I can relay to my clients and my viewers for aid in your living in an aging body? And what has sparked this topic for me and why I want to do this series is that less than 24 hours ago, I just completed a bicycle ride with another woman who is 69 years old, so 9 years older than I. One of my clients, one of my athletes that is in a triathlete herself. We just completed a ride on a bike from Albany to Buffalo. That's the entire, upper western, northern end of New York State, the entire length of the state. It was actually 380 miles total. And we were following the Erie Canal bike trail route, which isn't all bike trails. It's actually on roads and a whole different mix of terrain. But we completed 380 miles, and I am armed now with a really top of mind, very in the moment experience of having done that ride, and some of the skills that I've learned through endurance sport that I've been doing, throughout my adult life. I've done, 24-hour, 48-hour ultra marathon running. 115 miles was my single highest amount in one race. Ironman, 10 Ironman triathlons, which are 2.4 mile swims and 112 mile bike, and a marathon, 26.2 mile runs, all in a row, no break. And other things too that I've done. I've done other bike tours. I've biked up and down the coast of Florida by myself. I've biked from Albany to the end of Long Island by myself. I have biked around the Natchez Trace down in Tennessee and Mississippi. But those other long multi-day staged bike rides that I just described were done when I was in my 30s, right? I'm 59 and 5 months right now. And so I want to disclose to you who is listening to this, the skills that are really came to my mind as I was going through this grueling, activity, and how the skills that I want to present in this series are an aid to anybody, even if you're not doing this type of endurance sport. The first skill that I'm going to highlight for this first episode is patience. So this bike ride, we went out, it's June here in the Northeast where I live right now, and it should have been, if you go by weather, for the year and the annual cycle, one of the best ideal times to do this ride. It should have been like in the 70s and, warm, but, not as humid as August. So it should have been like ideal conditions. We went out, it was 40 something degrees when we started, high of 50s for the first 2 days, battling headwinds into a cold front coming into our area that we were moving out of, killing ourselves to hit a mile per hour pace that would have been easy breezy, or should have been easy breezy, but it was grueling, and it was for hour upon hour. We were out, for 6 to 7 hours a day. And the first 2 days, right at the beginning of this trip, it was like we were making no progress. We were originally going to go out and back. We had to amend that because the weather conditions, and there were more weather conditions than just were the ones I just described to you. We then hit heat advisories. It was 100 degrees in Rochester when we got there. We had it all over the board. But my point is, we were being curtailed by the weather circumstances, and what we were expecting to do in terms of mile per hour and distance per day was completely revamped because of what was occurring. And so patience, when you're killing yourself and you're uncomfortable and your legs hurt and there's a hot spot on your foot and you're freezing to death while you're sweating to death and you feel like you're making no headway, the skill of patience over and over again, especially on those first 2 days and on that hot day that I'll describe in other episodes in this series, I had to really work it. My expectation for how this ride was supposed to be and how it was turning out, I had to pump in and manifest patience. Now, I was also riding with somebody who was 9 years my senior, who's in phenomenal shape, but not my shape and 9 years younger. So the pace that I could have done versus what we were going to do, because we're partners on this, was also I had to have patience for that process because, I wanted and could go faster. So now I'm in this pain and I can't even try to go rush through it or get through it faster. I had to stay in what seemed to be a gruelingly slow for me pace at certain points of the ride, and the skill of patience. So why am I talking about patience? To those of you listening to this, because I'm addressing living in an older body. So I have a 50 plus population specialty in my practice, and over again, my clients come to me and they might have had an injury, or they've got a body ache, or they got sick, any number of things that were unexpected or not planned in their own body when they're 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And now the recovery time for those injuries, the recovery time for getting over being sick. We're in post-COVID right now, but we're still in the beginning of that phase. So people getting one of the strains that's not terminal, but you get mild symptoms, but then it takes, when you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, it takes a longer time to get better and feel yourself again. There's a fatigue and, and so patience, you've got to, kind of stoke the fires of patience. And we live in a culture right now where patience is, even when you're younger, nobody has patience, but you definitely don't have patience, or you have to really pump in that patience when you're living in an older body because you keep comparing back. Well, I would have been better sooner when I was 30. What's wrong with me? I don't like this, and then your mind can just really spiral and spin you up into a place you don't want to go. And so the skill of patience for the process of living in a body that is now older in terms of recovery from injuries and illnesses. All right. It also has to be applied when you're doing your activities. I have many clients that are in their 60s and 70s that are, bike riding or walking on a regular basis or doing whatever their activity, their athletic activity or their exercise activity is. But their pace that they can do comfortably compared to what they were able to do when they were younger, a decade, 2, 3 ago, is very different. And so it takes longer to do the same distance of activity. And you have to have the patience for that. You're not going to get yourself anywhere except a very negative place if you keep comparing yourself to where you would have been at a younger time in your life, or where you were at a younger time in your life, and then getting upset about it while you're in an aging body. You have to take that patience and you have to then say, okay, let me be present. This is the body I'm in right now. This is my post-illness body, and it's going to take whatever time it takes. Let me pay attention. Let me just observe it. Let me be, with the process, stay present to it. Let me watch my mind kind of spiral into a place of comparison when I was younger and bring myself back to being able to be with the time it's going to take and be present to it. Someone said to me when I was, 20 years ago, every day on this side of the dirt is a good day. And when they first said it to me, I was like 30, 35, I don't remember, 40. And I was like, what are you talking about? But what they meant was every day that you're on the top of the planet and not buried and dead underneath the dirt is a good day. And so that skill of patience, you're you're better able to execute it and stay in the process of it when you remind yourself of, like, what's the alternative? Dead? Then you don't have to worry about patience because it all stops. So you might not be where you want to be. It might be taking you longer to do the same activity levels and distances. It takes longer to recover. You might have all sorts of, you might be in a walker now, and you might have to, get in the cart when you're in the grocery store, but you're in the grocery store and you can still do your shopping. It's like, I can give you, the bottom end of this and the top end of this in terms of where you are on the continuum of what, is happening in your aging body. But no matter where you are on it, the skill of patience is going to be an aid for you as you are aging and as you're going to continue to age. I'm planning to live a long, long life, and I want to be as young-ish as I can be. But, now that I'm approaching the 60 year, I realize that, nobody escapes the aging. I don't care how well you took care of yourself, how well you ate, how much you exercise, your sleep, making sure you have a tribe of people that you're connected to. There's all, stress management, breathing techniques. All these things are very important, but none of them, collagen, creams and ingestibles and, human growth hormone and NMN supplements, and all these things are absolutely lovely and wonderful. And you want to be able to, educatedly and mindfully, choose which ones you want to use to enhance your aging, but nobody's escaping it. Nobody's getting out of here without aging. And so this, skill of patience that I have just had to execute for 6 days straight, riding a bicycle across the state, isn't just for riding the bicycle across the state under adverse weather conditions. It is for living in my aging body and all the day-to-day. Like when I wake up in the morning, it takes me longer to get things out of the crotchety state. This hurts, that hurts, this is stiff. If I use that first moment when I first get up and walk, I'd probably, go back in bed and never move. But I'm like, all right, patience. I used to be able to just jump out of bed. Now it's going to take me 5 minutes, 7 minutes. I'm going to do some limbering, some dynamic limbering to get the joints loose again, the tissue of my muscles to have a little more pliability. I just was laying in bed for XYZ hours. I have to have the patience for this. You have to have the patience for this. Weight loss is another big one that I work with clients. Their expectation for how fast they should be losing weight on the plans that they're on that are working, by the way, but just not at the speed that their coworkers are doing because they're doing Master Cleanse or some other, unsustainable program. Patience for weight loss, patience for injury, recovery, patience for, moving your body when you've been sitting down for a long period of time or when you first get up in the morning. I can go on and on. I think you get the point. If you are 50 plus, you are living what I'm talking about. And my ride that I just completed is just highlighted for me that, the skill of patience is my first one now in this series of 6 that I'm bringing to our attention as we're aging to really highlight, to practice, to get really good at. Because if you're in your 50s, you're going to have to keep using it for your 60s, 70s, 80s, even at a higher level. If you're in your 60s, if you're in your 70s, as long as you're on this side of the dirt, this skill of patience will be life affirming and make things that you might get really upset about way more, enjoyable. So skill number 1 on my top 6 in this series of 6 podcasts on what has endurance sport taught me that is going to be valuable for living in an aging body, that is valuable in living in an aging body, and what I want, and then relaying it to you who are also living in aging bodies. The skill of patience. So thanks for listening. I love doing these podcasts for you. I love the feedback I get from you. So thank you for watching and listening. Stay tuned for the next episode number 2. You're going to want to hear that one. And as always, let's make our second 50 even better than our first 50. Be well, everybody. Thanks for listening, everybody. And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judytorel.com.